So it depends on. So it's nothing important. Supposing you see something, all right, there you can see it is a good thing. But that doesn't mean that you should stick on to those things. But you must try to do what you don't see. For example, now you see the light coming out of somebody's head. Now that's one side of looking at things. Another is that you can feel the another person. When you feel the another person, how he is, how he needs you, how you are coming closer to that person, can you feel that compassion for him, that he is not where you are? That also is another balancing stuff. But this should be done. This is very dangerous for some people who try to be helpful to others when they are not themselves solidified properly. So I would again warn you that when you start seeing lights and all that, try to remember that you are going on one side, you are seeing more. Then be more compassionate in your tongues, in your talking, in your behavior. Try to have more love. Means right hand side is more developing, the left is less. Is the heart. So you have to raise your kundalini from right and left. But it's all mechanical, it works out. It's only thinking about it. Oh, I have to develop my heart more. The balance has to be there. This also should be there, the feeling for others. Now the feeling for others cannot be explained as I feel for others. Okay? If somebody is crying anywhere, I get tears into my eyes automatically. Even if you are not crying and if you are feeling hurt about things, I get the hurt feeling within myself. Like that. You see, you should really feel that hurt feeling and that desperate feeling and that cry. Of course, I mean, it comes to some people too much, but they do not have the other side. So you should have both the sides and both the balancing characters within you. So those who are seeing things more should not go on bothering about what they are seeing. It's coming their way, all right. Because they have done that kind of a tapasya, so they see things. And it helps Sahajog very much because you can see for yourself who is realized, who is not realized, this thing, that thing. But still the dryness is in you. So if it is in you, you should try to develop it. So whatever you don't have, you try to develop that. Whatever you have, don't be satisfied with that. That's the best way you can rise. You see, those people who can see things should try to feel others. Those who can feel others should try to see things. And it would work out that way. So this is what it is. And in the Mahakarana state, where the Mahakarana is, that is a very, very subtlest form of state where the chakras which have got the deities are connected with the sort of reflection of the deities of the Virata. Now these deities in the Virata are reflected in you, are awakened in you, and they start moving and making the whole thing work out as it should be. Up to the Karana state, it is very good. But Mahakarana state is the state where it is the real, what you call the object and reflection. When you can come up to the object, which is a very deep state of mind, where you are with the object. And when you are at the object, you are very close to an incarnation state. So, we can say that as far as you people are concerned, you should try to understand up to Karana state, because beyond that, how to jump and how to go is not the question just now. What's the use of telling you about something which is a far-fetched stuff? So we'll talk about it later. But this is how it is, the 4 states of chakra. Now, दूसरा प्रश्न हुआ ना उत्तर का ते चक्र. हाँ. He says you see it anti-clockwise. You do see, because most of the people who have seen it on other people. And when you see on other people from the back side, you see it on the anti-clockwise side. But if you see it from the front, it is clockwise. That's why.
What I'm saying,
हाँ.
you feel the chakras moving one outside your body.
हाँ.
Feel the chakras moving.
Yeah, it depends on, what I have just now told you, that the chakras, say for example, for an ordinary human being, the chakras are nothing but ordinary plexuses. For a realized soul, it is a more than that. So the more you move into a greater view of your own awareness, that's how the chakras start manifesting. Now for example, my chakras are working all over. You see the difference. So it depends on the awareness of person. 10 आदमी %, 10 प्रकाश पड़े. As much as the light now says, that much is the extension of the light. See, as much is the power. So that's what it is. So शरीर जे आहे, शरीर हे म्हणजे ग्रोथ आहे, पण आधी ग्रोथ होतं. वाइब्रेशंस फार आने लगे. अच्छा, अब हो गया चक्रों पे बात करें. Now, is there any question left on chakras?
About the number of petals.
Yes, number of petals are also gross stuff, you see. Till you go to a certain stage, there are petals are being created because of, there's a little mathematics about it, little mathematics. And all this mathematics has been worked out in a human being, how it is. But these are the, we can say that now, for example, in a person now, a light is there. Say 25, what do you call 25 watts. 25 watts. Now, 25 watts are to be converted, say, to say 60 watts or something like that. So you have to see the dimension into which the person is, that portion is going to grow. You see, it's a big mathematics about it. It's dimension to which that can grow. You see, and into what sphere it is going to penetrate. For example, now the Muladhara chakra you can take, for example. Now, Muladhara chakra is actually 4 petal because it covers the 4 sides of the human personality. It's a very abstract calculation. It is the 4 side of the personality, and the 5th side, the movement in the 5th dimension, doesn't take in the Muladhara chakra. It takes above the Muladhara chakra. So the 4th dimensions are shown by that. See? These are the different dimensions of a man. At those levels, how many dimensions you touch by these, that it is calculated like that. In my book, I have given most of these in very great details as to what are the dimensions one touches in this thing and how far you go. But the same Muladhara becomes only 2 later on. But it is such a subtle and sharp tool, which is very, which penetrates just like this all over. So it is it depends on the, you can say in a machine, you have different types of bolts and different types of screws and with different dents. Now, what is the calculation is an engineer can say why is it so. So you see, it is a very detailed work and it's all worked out because the dimensions into which a human being will be going and all that is worked out, and on that chakra only these dimensions you achieve. So it has a meaning, but it's not only 4 chakras. It's not only 4, it has got many petals inside, and it's a very interesting one. Actually, in Muladhara I've written a big chapter complete, how many folds are inside and how these things work out and how many folds, what do they suggest and how far they open out, because it's all a dimension which is worked out. For example, if you take a banyan tree, the seed is so small, a banyan tree has the smallest seed. Now why is it so? And why is it so microscopic? Because it is so dynamic. It is all worked out like a capsule, you see, and it's a capsule which is to work out this dimension, it has to work out that dimension. So it is a sort of a rather calculated stuff which I have described. I have only described Muladhara really in the full this thing because it made such a big volume of one Muladhara chakra that I gave up about others. I have just mentioned about them. But only Muladhara itself, when I started describing, it became such a big, huge thing. I gave in, I said, now better not do other ones. But it's quite a complicated stuff, you see. And you see, God has his own style of planning, and we can't question him. He does it according to his own whim, his own style. But he does, his whim has understanding. Everything has. You will find that sometimes, you see, if you try to study that, if you ask me certain things, I try to answer it in a different way, you see, because there are his ways of doing things, and he understands, and that's how he does it. But still, I have tried to bring out at least Muladhara chakra, so that human beings must understand that how complicated they are made, how God has been so careful to place their Muladhara so well, and how He has put the force there, how it's a living machinery, how it's working out, so that people should understand the importance of their chakras and importance of their being, how important you are. You are not ordinary people. Even if there's a ordinary tape recorder, we are so careful about it. How much we should be careful about our own machinery, which is being created in ages with such great understanding, with such mechanism. Every chakra, if you take up, even if you take up 3 yugas, you won't understand one chakra. It is such a tremendous working inside. I have of course given the only the description of it, and the reason why is a stage which will make you really mad. But I've tried to explain in that. You have read my Muladhara, did you? It's quite elaborate stuff.
I, in Delhi, the question was, what is the purpose of life? Buddhism said, purpose, of all this incarnation is to go in nirvana, which is nothingness, where nothing happens. Then, in the Christian tradition, it is also perfection, which is conceived as a total union with God, which is immobility. Now you said it is not like this. You are going to incarnate. Liberation is not just something which is immobile, somewhat. You are going to incarnate again and again. Then the question I'd like to raise in connection with the chakra is, what is the purpose of life? I understood before that the supreme thing is to be united with God, whatever this means. And when I'm united with God, there is no movement anymore.
But that stage I never cancelled it. That stage is not today. See, when I said it that just now you have to incarnate again and again, you are not at that stage. But when the whole thing, you see, nothing is wrong in any one of these. When they say there is a day of judgment, but before that God is going to give you a chance. He is going to give you full chance to improve yourself, go to that position. You see, like that we can say that first the trees are brought into being by sowing the seed, then the trees grow up, then there are flowers, then the flowers are again, they become seeds, then again the trees, then again this thing, until they reach a certain stage, till they have completely ripened, then they remove the whole thing, and the whole thing becomes the Brahma itself, and whatever is the waste matter is thrown up. So ultimately is the union, but the union of your being with God is a much later stage. First of all is the purification point. You see, for your purification, you are to be born again. You have not reached that stage where you should become Mahanirvan. Have you? If you become, might be you might land up in hell. So better not try that. See, you must understand that just now at this stage, you have to go further, purifying yourself till you reach a certain stage. You see, where? Then you reach a certain stage at that time. God has given you enough chance to improve yourself. Still you are Rakshasas, then you are not going to be tried anymore. But it's quite near, I must say. You cannot now allow it to take the chance. It's quite near. One of the halali, we call one of the butchery is going to be very close. It's very close. I would say can be any time. So you be careful. It's just there. So many have to be neutralized because they are just very troublesome. It can be quite close, so be careful about it. So you see, everything fits into everything else, but what happens with every religion? Part of it is said, so this cuts out the other. Supposing I say you have to go to this room. Now if I say that you have to come 2 steps that side, and then I say no, you have to come 3 steps this side. These are all connected stuff, but because it is said only 3 steps here, so you say then in that religion it is said 3 steps inside. And what about those 2 steps? I have to tell about them also. Because I have to tell about all those 2 steps you have to take first, I better not tell you about these 3 steps now, because you will put your eyes, oh very nice. It's not going to come in a plate. You have to work it out consciously. Understand now?
Yes. Just now you said that after death, this Atma and the Kundalini will separate out from the
Body.
earth element. But then where do the chakras go?
Chakras exist within you. Chakras is a place. They just exist within you. You see,
within the earth element. Within the earth element.
No.
How it goes with the...
No, they are in the body only. They are in the body. The body itself like a seed. You see, you become like a seed. But they are potent. You can't see them. Chakra is a space.
But then chakra and kundalini must be living together.
No, no. You see, when it is something like a light going out and the tube is still there, it is like that, the kundalini, but it stays on top of the head of the person. Only difference is supposing the light goes out and stays nearby. You see, the potential is there in the light. It is like that. The place for the light to pass is there.
And one more thing you said about when these parasympathetic and sympathetic, when they separate out, then that particular person goes to the extremity.
Extreme.
The extreme. And in that case, what happens before our realization, whether they are superimposed one over the other, the sympathetic and parasympathetic.
No, no. They are already separated in the growth, they are separated, inside also they are separated, but there is a void.
This is the only kind.
Because yes, that is the only thing. You see, the kundalini gets enlightened, or sort of she gets a little enlightened, we can say, when it faces me and it starts rising, or when you people, because you are also Sahaj Yogis. It doesn't happen with anybody else, you will be amazed to know. So now, what is the other question? Should we?
We actually do this sort of thing, try to activate our chakras by giving clockwise or anti-clockwise movement. But in fact, chakras, they turn horizontally in the body. How the chakras move in the body.
Yes, that is true. They are moving horizontal. They are moving horizontal, but when you move them like this, you see, like you have seen the wheel.
Why not we do this way?
No, it doesn't work out. It works out better this way because you see, these are the things that are emitting. You see, if you do it like this, it goes down. But this way, these are moving. You can move this. You have seen that in a watch. You have some like this parallel, and some are like this. काय प्रश्न आहे का कसं आहे ठीक आहे अच्छा आता दुसरा काय प्रश्न आहे
You said different gurus have different effects on different chakras. They have damaging effects on different chakras, different gurus. How do they do it? And in spite of Kundalini arousal that happens, then what should be done?
You see, what gurus do is they use different chakras for introducing into the sympathetic nervous system some entities which they have control. You see, they do not control many entities as such, but what happens? For example, now I would say during war, many people died just like that, you see, killed and this and that. In those countries, those souls, you see, they were never never had a human life, and they were treated just like animals, and they were very much tortured. So they had that feeling in their minds that we should also torture these people. So when they come, they die. You see, they do not die really, and they do not get into the Pretloka. They stay in the atmosphere, and that's why wars are very bad things, because wars create such human beings much more with accidents and people who are very depraved in life, very dissatisfied, who are doing all kinds of depraved actions and secretive things and all kinds of horrid things. You see, all such people, all of them, when they die, they do not really go to Pretaloka, because they don't think of their salvation, but they are just thinking of their lust, greed, or sort of we can say possessions, those who are grabbing things, thieves, and all sorts of people. We can call evil people and satanic people. When they die, they find, they become much more subtler, and they can be better off if they act in a subtle body. So they use their subtle body for acting into people, and such people are easily available. So these gurus, what they do, that they themselves are evil geniuses, and they have a way of capturing those people, and they use them, and they introduce you through your different chakras. For example, Ravana had the capacity to speak, and in his speech he used to introduce Rakshasas into the human beings in Ceylon. Otherwise, imagine in Lanka, people should never fight Rama, because at that time the sensitivity of people was so great that they knew that Rama was an incarnation. They were not gross as today they are, that one has to tell that, oh, here I am the incarnation. See, that time It was not Kali Yuga, so they knew he was an incarnation. And so many of them, I mean, some of them did not, but quite a lot of them knew, and despite that, nobody could oppose it because their mind was captured by these entities put by Ravana, and they fought. So it was so, even at the time of Krishna, people knew who he was, at least they had quite an idea, even Kauravas knew about it. But this Kali Yuga is a wretched thing, nobody sees anything clearly. But those times were not like that. People knew who was an incarnation and they understood it. And that time also, these people had to use some sort of a way of putting them off, and they used this method of enticement. And when they used this method of enticement, in that use, they learned also subtler ways which they are using in the Kali Yuga very well. They are actually Rakshasas. And they know these methods how to entice people. There are so many ways of doing it. And when you bend your head before them, that is the best time when they can put it into your ego, and they can finish you off once for all. So that's how they do it, and you are no more yourself. First of all, they act on your heart. You become a nervous person, your hands start shaking, your feet start shaking. They act on your heart chakra. You lose the power of Raksha, which is the basic point of the heart chakra. वो जो आपके इसमें आया है वो दीजिएगा इन लोग. हाँ. And then once you start losing the grip over your nerves, you find that as if somebody is doing for you, and if you take somebody's name, you start jumping and you don't know anything. Is an experience. You see. There are so many things that do like that. 1001. But human beings as a whole in the Kali Yuga, instead of improving, has gone down absolutely in his conception of divinity and in everything. I mean, he's a hopeless case otherwise. But by God's grace, Sahaja Yoga may save him. The way it is, I mean, he's very, very blunt. Cannot read. He's very insensitive. And he carries on all kinds of his malpractices, thinking that he's a rare saint ever born. You see, that's another great quality of Kali Yuga. This is the problem. They have no conscience left now to tell them that this is wrong or that is wrong. They've killed. Everywhere it is so. तुम्ही शाळेची मुलं आहात का? अच्छा. अशा हात करून बसा आमच्याकडे बघू. हां. हां. आता दुसरे प्रश्न आपण विषय हां. हां.
Or alternatively, music can they rouse the kundalini.
No. You see, all these 5 elements are very important in our body, and they are the body of the chakras also, as I have told you. So what happens that when you sing the music, the vibrations can go through the musical sound and can excite certain chakras. You see, for example, for the Hridaya chakra, it is very good, or also for the Vishuddhi chakra, it is very good. Not for all the chakras, but certain chakras it does. But supposing you say a mantra plus the sound, the beautiful music, and a realized soul, then it is very effective. See? For example, Ganesha, you can excite him with a beautiful shloka. If you are a realized soul and if your Ganesha is correct, you can excite the Ganesha of another person very easily. I mean, such a person can do it. So, music, sound, all these things have an effect, and we are now using that method very extensively. That supposing now we go in a mass meditation and many people are there and some chakra is caught, say Vishuddhi is caught, I can correct the Vishuddhi by just putting my finger on this like this, because this has the sound. This is the chakras. There is a micro sound which is carrying the vibrations, you see. Actually, the part of the vibrations is the micro sound also, micro light, micro sound, and you can say all the 5 elements are micro there. So when I put my finger, the micro sound can carry the rest of them, and a person can be corrected. We can do it, especially Vishuddhi. Very easy to correct Vishuddhi on that. You can correct most of the things, but certain things are very easily corrected. Vishuddhi, which is responsible for the sound, made from the sound element. As we have seen that water element is very good for treating people for the lower chakras, because up to the heart chakra, because the water and salt can help you for the navi chakra, and because salt is the earth element, and what you call it is the essence of the ocean, and essence of the ocean is in the bhavasagara. So we can use salt water for clearing the lower chakras. We can use light for the eyes, because this is made out of the prakash, the light element, like that. You see, different things can be done with these different elements. If you use them, you can make all the dirt or all the obstructions which are collected in your particular chakra by putting them back into the same element and cleansing them out, so the element takes it away. For Mother Earth also, she has so many elements in her that she can take away so many of your problems which are troubling you in your being because of some imbalance of the Mother Earth element. You see, this is all due to the imbalance of these elements in you accumulated more beyond than what you want. That's why I say the extreme of it. The tattva is expressed through Shri Ganesh, and Shri Ganesh is the form of a, you can say, the purified principle of the earth element, and it's the same. I mean, you can say in a flute you have two notes. The first and the last are the same. In the same way, in a human being, the 7 notes, the first one is a Ganesha and the last one is also a Ganesha. So these 7 notes are the same, and these 7 notes make the earth element, and I mean the are not completely earth element, but started with earth element, purified, where it loses its earth element problems completely. It is Parabrahma. I mean, it becomes all Brahma, because earth element is outside is the earth element, but inside is Dhara, is Dharana. It is the power to sustain. Is the power to sustain, and that power is the purest form of earth principle. So you see that you become later on. Gradually, the whole earth element drops down, and you become that. So it is the Dharana Shakti, as they call the power of sustainer, is the Ganesha. So like that, in every chakra you have a very subtle and subtlemost point, and that subtlemost point is the note that the divine is playing at that point, because every note, it has a different frequency, a different intonation, you can call a different sound, which helps in the melody of this universe. So like that, we have 7 chakras and the 7 notes, and they are different notes, but these notes then create permutations and combinations, and that is how a chakra gets into a swara, and then it becomes a, you can say, a sound, and from sound it becomes a word, and from word it becomes a language, and like that it goes on, and the same subtle form starts becoming something else. For example, if I have love for my children, how I express it? I make a house for them, I make a place to live for them, I cook food for them, I make a bed for them. You see, is a gross expression of that subtle love I have. In the same way, whatever is subtle within us is expressed outside with the help of the elements that are outside, to express the subtle through our gross behavior or gross material things also we do. So it's the same subtle which is expressing outside. But then we become so gross later on that we forget the inner part of it. You see, for a mother may create something, all these things, and then she'll become so possessive of her children. She'll think, I've done so much for my children, that she wouldn't even think for why she has made it. She forgets the love part of it, and she becomes nothing but the gross thing. She'll start scolding the children for even breaking for a small thing here and there. You see, she does this for love, and then she forgets it. That's what is an extreme behavior. Extreme behavior means from the subtle You get to the gross and the gross and the grosser. Once you become grosser, you are dead. आता काय प्रश्न? हा
त्याला प्रथम दर्शनी समजा बाधा हे कसं वाटतंय काही लोकांना दिसती बाधा आणि जागृती
हा ज्यांना बाधा दिसते those who can see badhas are on the emotional side. They can see the badhas. They are, you see, though there also you can see two types of people. Those who are already themselves in badha, they can see badhas very clearly. They can see the dead persons. Those who are already badha can see that another person has got a badha because they are in the collective subconscious themselves. So they can see. And a person, say, can see the one who is, supposing who is a drunkard. He can see. A person who is drunk can see a badha in another person because he is in the subconscious side. He might say. But some people can achieve a state in an emotional way that they can see a badha clearly. If they are realized also, emotional state people. So those bhakti people can see a badha there. But even the supraconscious people can see a light coming before them. They can see somebody standing before them like a light, and they'll say that there's a light coming. They might get fragrance or things like that can happen. See, they can. They are called as tanmatras. Is the causal principle of all the elements. Causal tanmatras means for earth the causal principle is fragrance. So supposing somebody has done lot of search in the field of, say, earth element, so such a person can get lot of fragrance. Can. It is a variety everywhere created because of their different searches and because of their different seeking. तर तुम्ही काय म्हणाला बाधा कशी ओळखायची? नाही, ज्यांना दिसते त्यांना दिसते, ज्यांना नाही दिसते त्यांनी वरी नाही करायची. You see, badha, if somebody has a badha or not, you can, if he has agya and a heart, it's definitely a badha. And you just ask the person to put the hands before the photograph, he'll start shaking. Normally he shakes. Huh? काय असतं? भूत बाधा असते. See, I don't know how you should make it out, but it's very easy. You can make out. They cannot put their eyes towards my photograph. If you ask them to close their eyes, their eyes will start flickering. Hands will start shaking. Eyes will always flicker. Slightest badha it will show on the eyelid. Like this. You see, badha can be of many types. Some people just have a, for the time being. Some people have a permanently settled. Some have backfills, you see. So, you just can't say which is. जाऊ द्या, सोडा, कसलं काय, सगळ्यांना एका ह्याच्यात काढून टाकायचं. सगळं ते नको जास्त करायला. सहजयोगाने बाधेला जास्त लक्ष द्यायचं नाही, तेव्हा मान्यता मानायची नाही. कारण असेच येणार तुमच्याकडे अधिक चिकटणार तेच असलं की त्यांना म्हणा फोटोवर बसा, रगड रगड बसा म्हणा फोटो, माताजींना बघू द्यात. यू जस्ट डोंट वरी अबाउट दिस थिंग. हां, तुमचं क्युअरिंग वगैरे ठीक आहे. बाधेला जो मनुष्य म्हणजे, यू सी, दी थिंग इज, people think that there's only one type of badha is emotional badha. There can be both types. A person who is very egoistic also is dominated by somebody else. Abnormal, any abnormal behavior, you see, who is not a normal person, can come from anyone. हां, काय तुमचं काय म्हणणं आहे? कोणत्या वर्गात आहात तुम्ही लोक? हां, बघू बरं, या इकडे या. लेटस गिव्ह देम अ शिव आणि काय फरक नाही आहे. शिव आणि शक्ती एकच गोष्ट आहे. आता असं झालं, सन आणि सनलाईटचा काय फरक आहे? माणसाला ती अक्कल असते फरक करण्याची. आपल्याला माणसाला ते दुसरं समजत नाही, देवाला हे समजत नाही. There is no difference between a light, sunlight and sun, moonlight and moon. So there is no difference at all. It is only the human beings who think there are two stuff.
That differentiation
Huh?
when we come into Dvaita,
Then only we start thinking. It is in Advaita. It is one and the same thing, you see. For example, now this bangle is beautifying my hand. So what is the difference between this bangle and the beautification? Is the quality of the person. Is the quality. It's the we can say the Vyakta and Avyakta, we can call it. Huh? Not essence also. Essence means you will take out the rest of it and you say this is all useless. It's not that. It's in every, it is all there. It's one. What is the essence of sunlight and sun? Sun has no meaning without sunlight. Sunlight has no meaning without sun. It is not essence. It is everything that. You can say water and I.
Existence and essence. I mean, I just refer to two categories that
No.
philosophers develop. No, it's not that.
No, it's both have existence, both have essence. There is no difference at all. You see, it is human beings cannot conceive it. That's the trouble with human mind, because it is in a Dvaita. Human beings cannot see. You see, they think of two things always.
It's not a personal.
You see, it is perception is not possible for you to perceive it, but you can understand it by analogy. You see, many things human beings cannot just perceive. Just cannot, because you have a limited brain, you have a limited awareness, you have limited love. काय झालं का शेवटले? बरं वाटलं का? येत आहे का थंड? डोक्यात नाही झाला अजून?